Welcome to the Three River Valley series for Workers and Resources Soviet Republic, and we're picking up on the 28th of August 1970, which is a couple of months on from the end of the last video, and things are going reasonably well. I've got a couple of things I need to look at, but before that, as usual, a big thank you for all your comments and feedback. As usual, you guys give me a lot to think about. Now, I did get a suggestion that I do need to get my rail construction shed operating up here, and I think that was a very good suggestion. So what we've now got is the road crews working on this area here to get this built, because what we need to do is get we're gonna have to use a disassembled track layer, which I don't think we got much choice. We have to get one of these AGUMs in. And what that will do is, then we'll have to build the link back to the customs post. So then what we can do then is bring in a better quality track layer. And the idea is, and this is going to be the first part of something I'll be talking about in a little while, is we're going to try and lay the track through here and work towards the south down this area here, towards this rail bridge here. So I'll explain the reasoning behind that in a little while. Now, one thing I just want to check, we do need to get is it this built? Is it the right one? Let me just check. Yeah, it's a distro thing. This is the other part of the rail construction. This is going to bring the gravel up to the rail construction office. Over here, our fuel supply up to here is nearly finished. It's just a short length of pipe to be laid down here, because again, I didn't connect this properly. Now, if you watch the previous video, you'll be aware that I was talking about planning this area, and what I've done off camera is I've connected up a whole load of roads through here, and I think I've got about 12 pumping stations here. Look, I've missed a road here, come into here, and what I've done is I've connected up all the pipe work underneath here, so there's a lot to build, but hopefully we'll be able to get the helicopter crews working on a lot of this, although we're going to need to get the bridge over the river. And what I've done up here is I've set up 2 oil tanks, one that will be connected to this pumping harbour, and then this one will then feed into our chemicals and plastics industry that will be up here. So we're not going to produce fuel up here. And I had a bit of fun getting the power across the river. I originally hoped to get it across here, but this was just about the only place I could get across. And you can see, well, I hope you can see, the towers are right on the edge. This was just happened to be narrow enough to get across there. Also looks like we've got a new vehicle. Let me just check there. That's a Dom 85. That will be a what we call it, a Western combine. So that's gonna have to wait till we get down the bottom, because what I want to do in this part is fix a couple of problems. And then I want to do a lot of planning in Dark Valley, because I want to do a little bit of what I've done off camera. Is I've had a long thought about both the strategic and tactical of what I want to do. So that is something that I really do need to consider. And I've kind of looked up here. We come up to here, and I'll just talk a little bit about what I'm trying to do up here. Because we've got our town here, which is going along quite nicely. We've solved our fuel problem, which is good. But what we've got up here is a potential coal and iron problem. Now, my original plan was to really power up the steel mill here, but I'm kind of having a few second thoughts, because this coal mine is even at maximum capacity is going to struggle to supply a fully operational steel mill, and we've also got an iron one there. So what I've done is, what I'm thinking is that what I'm going to do is make this into a regional steel producer to make mechanical components and supply the construction in this area. But eventually all it will do is be a major producer of mechanical components, which is this factory here. But this isn't going to be my major steel production area, which I kind of half thought about. Just occurred to me, actually, we do need a more bus stop in about here, and we'll have to kind of do something like that, because I don't want to send the workers all the way around the top here, get into here, because it'd be a very long kind of circuitous route. Is this actually connected? No, it's not. I need that connection there. And then we'll connect the factory up to there. Now, beyond that, the only other problem I got up here is the fact that I'm kind of stretching my workforce here. So we're going to need to get a priority into building our new town up here. When you can see we've now got the road connections and stuff in here when things are coming along quite nicely. So it won't be in this part we're going to design this, it'll be in the next part. So the next thing I want to talk about, because we're going to go south, is something I've never really thought about in great detail, but this map is challenging me to think about it. That is the electric connections to the railway. So what I actually did is off camera, I did a test on a dead flat map, and what I did, I just used the mini map here to explain it. What I did is I started in the bottom right hand corner, not on this map, on a dead flat map. And what I did is I built a single power transformer, and I built a pseudo cargo station down here. And then I laid a track all the full length of the map right up into the opposite corner, the top left here, because this would emulate what I want to do here. And then I put another cargo station there, and then I connected up the track, and then I ran a train from here to here with a single power transformer down here. And to my surprise, it actually worked. So it shows that when you've got one power connection, I'm just going to pause the game because I don't want to get into the snow. When you've got one power connection, the power spreads across the entire network. So on the surface, that looks like the best way to go. But what I did then is I actually loaded up the track with multiple trains, and then I put in quite a big local service to the center of the map. Then eventually what happened is, well, if we come down to the south, probably go to about here, because this is actually, no, it's this one up here would probably be a better example. We come up to the substation here. What you see at the moment is it's showing 22 kilovolts and also 0.78. What happens is, if I can find a train that's running around here. Now, bear in mind, what I'm saying is relative to, where is it? We've only got one train running at the moment. It says building has no power supply. Yeah, we shouldn't have a power supply. But if we actually look at this train, what you'll see is at the moment it's running at 499 kilovolts, which means it's absolutely maxed out. What happens is when the track gets overloaded, this will drop down slower, and then as it gets down to the bottom, the train goes slower. And then eventually when it gets to the bottom, the train comes to a total standstill, and then you get the symbol on top. While you can run power all across the main network, what you've got to remember is that if you've got a busy section of track, you're going to need more concentrations of transformers, if that makes sense, guys. So what I've done up here is I've put two power lines in, because it's the other thing I experimented with. If you look at this power transformer, at the moment it's not drawing much power because there's not much going on up here. But if you put a second power line in, what you can do is increase the capacity of this railroad connector. And then another option, and this is a mod. What's this? This is a Also, my fuel tanker coming back up again. The other option is that you've got something like this. This is a mod, which is actually a high voltage connector. And I did test that. And back to the scenario I was saying here, I think I had at the end, I had 12 trains running. I think I had 4 trains running the length, and then I had another 8 trains running locally. And I had a single high voltage transformer down here, and it actually powered the entire network. So I had no other transformers on the line. So main power transformer like that will actually push out a lot of will service a very big area. And upon reflection, what I should have done is actually put the high tension connector in here. Now that is a kind of a long drawn out process of what I was trying to explain here, because what I want to do is we're going to try and drive this line all the way through to connect this together, and hopefully, and the idea is that by getting one line or 2 lines running the full length of the map with no power transformers in between. This comes back to what I was saying about getting the construction office built up here, because if we can get a full length connection here, that opens up a lot of options with respect to actually expanding the economy very, very quickly. So that's something I want to work on. Now, while we're here, this area here is going to be my main steel production area, because we got coal up there, and if I show you here, if we click on there, we got a great big patch of iron there. And what we're going to do is rise to the challenge of trying to get all that iron down into this area here. Of course, we'll be using railways. So that's going to be the long-term objective. So eventually the 2 steel mills that I have running, the one that's currently running, the one that we're going to build, will eventually absorb that. And of course, over here, this is going to be our main crop production area. This is going to be a massive farming community. Well, not a massive community, we're going to have a small community in this area. And what the other thing I want to talk about is another comment. Somebody asked a question as related to fire stations. Now, fire stations are key to protecting your industrial, because of course in the last part I had that major fire. I can't remember, where is the fire station? The fire station is just here. Now, the key to being able to fight fires in large industrial buildings, because when they catch fire they will require multiple slots, is one, you need your fire station to be fully equipped, have a full level of staff, but more importantly, what you do need to do is actually check your fire engines quite regularly. One, for speed, and also something that they don't show you here, which is the actual service level. So like this PMG 36, I must really put together a spreadsheet one day of all my vehicles. If we come into here, if I show you here, look at fire trucks. What you'll see is that, I don't know if I've still got the PMG, if we go by capacity, what you'll see is that every fire truck has a level, which effectively defines the number of firemen that you'll have associated with your truck. Now, as far as I know, the highest level is 12, but you can see that you can get the lowest level is 4. I don't think I've got that PMG on here anymore. So this is one of the things that annoys me a little bit, is when you click on the stats for the fire station up here. When you click on the stats for some of these fire trucks and buildings, you don't get the supplementary service level. See, these are Tower 11 fire engines. Now, because this is a small station, this is okay. But what you need to do is make sure that in your large industrial areas that you've got the ideally what you want is a fast fire truck with a level 12 on it. So it pays every so often to have a look round and actually see whether you've actually got whether these are fully equipped. And also having the fuel in there is quite good. But of course, there's no point having good fire engines unless you've got good staff. So that's something else you do need to bear in mind. Of course, in winter, you also need your snow plows out, making sure that all your roads are covered. Now, before we get into doing some design, I just want to show you a potential problem I've got now is I don't have enough workers in here, and my coal is getting a little bit critical because we need it. So what I'm going to do is I didn't really want to do this, but I think I really do need to put this in, and hopefully this is going to work. Residential, we've got the spare over 21s. I'm looking for a similar building to one of these. So I want these small base platform. It's in here somewhere. It's got weight. Oh, there it is down there. What I'm hoping is to get one of this in here. It's got water. It's got. I can get that in there. I think I need this building pretty quick. So we're gonna have to go for. Put a mud footpath to there. Mud footpath to there. Make sure that can get to the. It can get to the store and it can get to there. So what we're going to do is get you on there. I want this built high capacity, high priority through the winter. It should build relatively quickly if we can get the supplies delivered to it, because the local workforce should contribute to what's going on here. But I need the extra workforce to get into this mine, because it's the mine that's actually causing a bit of a problem. And I've now got us. So, and just to show you, we've got 434 people, so we can use that up. So if we can get this built, it will make it. Might overload the local resources. Just push that up as well. Yeah, I mean, we've got a little bit of unemployment in here. Now, let me just check here. And what I did just before I started is I rejigged the bus station here, but this junction is still a cause for concern. Kind of half thinking maybe a road connection through to there, but yeah, stop production. Where's that? Oh, wrong end. You con me again. That the reason this is not working fully is the fact that we don't have the workforce here. Anyway, back to here. Now, my next part of my strategy to get more workers in the coal mine is we're going to get 3 prison buses. Capacity 18 passengers, 80. Don't think we're 103 there. We got 90 for 6 passengers. The trouble is the passenger loading is way too low. Got 82 with 13 passengers. So we're going to get 1, 2, 3 of those. Now it's going to take a little while for these guys to turn up. So what I'm going to do now is we're going to set up, well, I'll just show you what I'm doing. Now, if you've been following the series, you'll be aware that I've been building this area up as a tourist area. Now, I've been looking at this rail construction, and I think it's not going to be particularly that useful. I think this is a bit of a mistake. And what I'm going to be doing is using this in the supplementary role. I think I'll bring the small rail construction trains up to here. And then what that will do is free up some slots here. And what we can do is bring up these AGUMUs up and then get a couple more EDK 300s. So we'll have 6 construction trains working from this direction. Anyway, what I want to do in this part is you can see this is now built up. It's got food in it. It's even got some staff. So what we're going to do is, I think I'm going to let the workers in here because I want more workers to come in here to equip the thing. Because we got the surplus, so and we're going into winter. So the more of those we can get into our, so that we don't lose them, the better. Right, so what I want to do is set the tourist route up. Now, I was looking at this just before I started. I was looking at the train sets, and the fastest train sets we got is 120, but that's actually fuel powered. This one's 120, but it carries 416 passengers. And I don't feel that that is going to really work. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to use normal locomotives. Actually, I'm going to use my favorite here, the CH3, but we're actually in the wrong place, because it means I'd have to do it. So we need to come here, electric locomotive. I'll buy one of those. So the train will come out from there. Of course, what we've got to do now is buy some passenger wagons. Capacity. Actually, I want speed. What we got here? We got these. I think these are Polish railway trucks. I think we'll buy a couple of those, and then we're just. And then, of course, because we're in realistic mode, we've got to go to there, pick up that, come back to there. Just do this very quickly. Actually, did I put prison trucks, did I? What's that there? Prison bus. I'm not sure why I've got a prison bus there, but we need to get them there. We're now going to get this train here. He's going to come up to there. And of course, what we've got to do is assemble the train, because he's just delivered them. Then we'll come here, go to there. Oops, clear that, clear the whole lot. And you're going to load tourists. Then we're going to come all the way over to here. And you're going to come here and you're going to drop off the tourists. And just follow just to see. Just to make sure everything is okay, because this is going to be the first time into the station. A whole 12 tourists. Okay, well that's whoops. Actually, if we go like that, we're get rid of you. Whoops. We'll just follow the train through. I mean, it probably will build up over time once we get a bit of a reputation, we get a bit more thing. Actually, just going to pause very quickly because I want to just see. At the moment, we're earning 15,000 a month, I think it was to see. And we got 33,000 last month, 15,000 this month on halfway through the month. And we've now got our first tourists in, so hopefully that will build up. I mean, later on we'll add an extra train to this area. So again, we're just going to scoot back to our prison buses. Where are they? Get back to the what I'm going to do is we're going to pick up from here. This is going to be a little bit of a long run, but hopefully it's going to work. And we're going to, because I want the prisoners working on this, so we're going to release you. Go back here, and we're pick up That prison bus? No. On the line spacing. Piece of those. And the idea is that they will be delivering regular supplies of prisoners to the coal mine, because we do really need to get the production up on this coal mine. I need to keep an eye on it. So you can see it's a little bit icky because we're not really getting the workforce in here. Actually, I'm kind of thinking we got coal here, we got there, we got a lot of bricks here. 107 tons of bricks. I think what I'm going to do is, let me just see. You've got quite a lot of gravel. I think these separate, or that's all one. I think what we'll do is we're just going to switch off this tower. And what that would mean is we won't be sending coal down to this direction. All the coal will be funneled into here. I want to fill this up at least through the winter, because we need to, because the problem is in a similar way as what happened, or the threat was in the previous video when the power station was going to burn down, is because we got this conveyor here. If this runs out of coal and the power goes off, that switches off the power to that conveyor. So the only solution is to actually manually use trucks, but you can't use something like this. What you have to do is physically pick it up from this aggregate store to that store. So this is something you do need to bear in mind. So we do need to keep an eye on this area here. Hopefully it will start to increase. And we got 76 in here now. We've got some prisoners in here now as well now. I think they're prisoners, aren't they? They've got stripes. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you are. Yeah, Iron Tree Prison. So we got our first prisoners arriving. And this is the reason why I want this built. I just want to make sure. So if anything happens, these people will move in straight away. And what we should now have is a lot more workers up in here. I mean, if necessary, I can pull workers from this area. Yeah, so we're getting more and more workers in here, settling down, keeping this place going. What is this? Oh, this is one of my tourist attractions, which I just want to make sure these guys are switched on to. You can come to there. These aren't built yet. We're not going to build the other hotel just yet. Right, I've finally got to where I want to get. I've got a possible problem here with the oil tank because I'm exporting oil. But at the moment we've got, well, obviously the tanker's just left as well, but we've got fuel here. So many things to think about. You've got to watch this game like a hawk. I don't care how well you can build in perfect economies. This game has just got so many ways you can trip up if you're not vigilant. You know, just get here. You can see what we're doing is just building in this area here. So we're well on the way to getting this finished. And we'll get this built in. And we finally got up to this area here, which is slowly coming together. Now, if you watch the previous video, you'll be aware that I built this food production area up here. And I've had a little bit of a review, and what I've done is I put in a second food factory. It's a little bit close to here, but I'm afraid our locals are going to have to live and learn to be, you know, learn to live with it, I think. Now, one thing I do want to put in here is another fire station, because we got a fire station there, but what I want is a. Actually, is that the, yeah, that's the right place for it, isn't it? No, I'm not going to put a fire station there. I think what I will do. Oh, we got rural fire station there. Okay. So what do I want to do here? Well, I want to do a bit of an experiment. In fact, this is going to be one big experiment here. So I've been looking at this area. It's going to slow up because we're on the 30th of September. In fact, I'm going to pause the game now because I'm going to be doing a lot of fiddling about. And I've pushed the road out over here. Now, what I want to do is a bit of an experiment in this area with irrigated fields. I'll talk a bit more about that and otherwise. And what I'm also thinking is we've got this nice road here. And if I can get some more people living in this area, so we're going to expand the town in this way. What I'm thinking is a clothing industry up here, because we're going to put farms here. And if I show you the fabric factory, proper factory, yeah, it's a proper factory, you can see what we got is crops and chemicals. Now, what I'm kind of thinking is that if we're going to need chemicals up there, once this town's built and this area is cleared, what I'm considering is putting a small chemical plant here, but we're gonna have to try and find some way to get it connected. The alternative is that I put it down over here, but then we'd have to truck in stuff. But the thing about chemical plants is they don't need vast quantities of anything, except, I mean, even the oil, it's only 1.2 tons of oil, and you can see that it's got storage for the gravel and the oil and the crops. The only thing, oddly, it doesn't seem to have a storage for is wood. But again, the quantities of wood are so small. So what we could do is put, say, a couple of chemical plants in here. Although we're going to have to put water connection in and a sewage connection, of course, as well. And we could like do something like that. We could connect it up to the, oh, that's the coal line, isn't it? Anyway, we can build trucks in that area. So I think we've got a case here to produce enough chemicals for the clothing industry up here. That's a mouthful. Actually, is this being built? Let me just make sure. We're going to allocate these individually, I think. No, I want that built well. And this, I've really got to sort these construction offices out, because the main focus of construction for quite a long time is going to be up here. So what we're going to have is the food industry here. We're going to put some irrigated fields here. We're going to have a clothing industry here with more irrigated fields. And then coming back to what I was talking about earlier, the iron up here. So if I come up to here, where is it? Let's just turn off the text. I don't know why I turned that on, but by accident. Now up here, there is a very powerful source of iron. And just to show you how powerful that is, if I come to metallurgy, what you see is we got, what is it? We got 92% there. We got 89% there. So what I'm going to do is go with the greens. So we got one iron mine there. We got 94, 95, 96, 97%. Actually, go to, I think 99% is the highest you can go. I've never been able to get 100%. I think I'll settle for 97% if I can get something 92% in there. Now, technically, we could put another one here of 95%, but what I want is 3 iron mines here. And then what we're going to put some iron ore processing in here, because if you think about it, the iron ore processing is you need 225 tons of iron ore, get 105 tons of iron. So from a perspective of hauling stuff down by trains, it's better to process the iron ore closest to the mines. And we're also going to need to get a village up here. Now, just to show you the terrain, it's, well, if I put this on here, what you'll see is there's a platform here, and we got a, so the way we've got to get up here is in 2 steps. Now, I know because I actually created the map that it's possible to get up here with a railway line and a road line. The only thing is that it's a long time since I created the map and I can't remember how I did it. So we're gonna have to do a little bit of experimenting here. Oh, that's not a bad guess, is it? I can get 2 tracks up there, but we need a road up here as well. The only reason I was going on is the fact that this had a little bit more of a gentler slope on it compared to there. Oops, we need a road bridge. Because of course we're going to need a road up here as well. Well, that's a good start. Now the next bit's going to be fun because way back, well over a year ago, I was played on my divided map, and it was possible to get a very steep incline up here. You could almost go up like that, but I think what the devs did is they got wise to that and they actually corrected the gradient now. So what will happen is if you get too steep, you see it says there gradient too steep. So now you've got to be a bit more grandiose with respect to getting things done. I'd like to come in about here, but I'm not sure. Let's see if we can do it. I think I'm gonna just, I think that's a bit high, but we'll just see if we can do it. I think what we're gonna have to do is come down. Now this middle section, there's no point doing the old lay the concrete first type approach. You might as well just put the electrified track in between the two like that. Now we do need to get the road up here as well. Now the road I'm not too worried because I want to use that little bit of space there. So I think the road you can get up a little bit steeper. I think. Aha. You can get the road up there, and I think I can get a road down that way. Thank you, game. So we've now got this track here. I just want to see if I can get the rail track here. We go for concrete here. That's the make sure that the tree in the way. And bring this up. And then what we'll be looking at, turn that off, is putting the gravel loading area in here. I won't design it hit this bit here because this is a long way off. What I really wanted to do was get this connection in, and we need to make sure that I want to leave plenty of space there because we're probably going to need a gas station somewhere around here, or probably even possibly a what we call it, a pre-construction site. But of course we're going to have a problem with getting the track up here. This back on again because I want the maximum amount of space here for my I want to do here. Connect you up here. And we're just going to connect you there. And then we've got the road here. I'm not going to plan the road just yet because they've got to build this bridge anyway. So because I want to get this area sorted. So we'll accept the road infrastructure that I've planned up there. And that gets us up to there. I mean, it's a long way, but it'd be worth it. Because if we can get lots of iron flowing down here through this track to our center over where I said, it'd be really great. Now, and I think this is this probably explains why I wanted to test those power lines, because I don't want to put a what they call it, what's it called, a railroad electric connection. I could have worked that out myself, couldn't I? I want to, so we're going to be powering it off from this one here, which has got a high tension connection. So that should provide all the power to this area here. Now I'm not going to go up through this valley for the uranium. The uranium is going to be on the other side of the map now. I think it's just not worth going up that way. So we've now got to a point. So that's the first thing that I wanted to do. I think we can afford to just let the game run slowly now, because it should be okay. Hopefully. Now comes the next bit. Now this is going to be a little bit of an experiment. Okay. And what we're going to be using is, if I come to factories, it's here we're going to be using these irrigated farms from Nouveau. Now, the thing you need to be aware about these farms is they produce up to 40 tons of crops per day, requiring 40 cubic meters of water and 20 staff. But there's in very small print at the bottom, which you guys probably won't be able to read. It says required weather temperature above 14 degrees Celsius. So if we come into here, you see at the moment it's 19 degrees Celsius. So that means that these farms will only produce crops for about 6 months of the year. So it's not an ideal. So you're going to have to manage that. Also, you're going to have to provide really large quantities of water. Just to recap, as this says that this actually needs 40 tons of crop. So each one of these produces 40 tons of crops per day at maximum production. Now the food factory requires 42 tons of crops per day. So, and I've got 2 food factories here, so we need a minimum of 2. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in one here, and we're just going to put one there. So that's technically the 2. Just traps that down there. I'm going to pull this. These don't produce pollution, so we can kind of spread them out a little bit. And then what I want to do is put another one just here. Now, what you'll see is this picks up a water connections. The water and power connections is with the road connection. Now, what I don't want is this to be connected to the water supply to the town. This is going to have its own separate water supply. So we're going to put that there while I'm thinking about it. So technically, these 3 together will produce an excess of crops, but not enough to keep the food factories going through the winter. So what we're going to have is here, we're going to put another one down slightly and slightly wider apart. Just turn that. So we're going to have another one there. And the idea is that these 4 farms will produce enough to drive 2 factories and a surplus which can be consumed in the winter. But if we need extra crops, we can still bring them in by the what we call it, the train. And the next thing is, if I come back to the fabric factory, you can see the fabric factory only needs 20 tons of crops per day to drive it. So what I'm hoping to do is that we're going to have some extra, more of these over here, possibly another 4. And what they will do is they will also provide a surplus to here. So effectively, the idea is that with these irrigated farms, if they work and they can produce 40 tons of crops per day, we can produce enough crops in this area on a regular basis to get us through both on with a regular supply of food and clothes. And this would become. So the idea is eventually we may actually have, yeah, something else I need to point out is that one fabric factory can support 2 clothing factories. So clothing factory needs 2.4 tons of fabric, and the fabric factory produces 5 tons. So what we could have up here is 2 fabric factories, 4 clothing factories, and the clothing factories produce 1.2 tons. So what that would do per day, so at maximum production, 4 clothing factories would be 2.4, is that 4.8 tons of clothes per day, which is going to be more than enough to supply a fairly large economy. I mean, eventually we will need to scale up if we get to 100,000. So that is the grand plan. Now comes the fun bit, because we're now going to use something which I don't use very often. In fact, I'll be completely upfront, guys. Forklift trucks is not something I've really had much to do with. So we're going to put a connection there. Probably going to have to put another connection. Yeah. And I'll be completely upfront. This is the first time I've done anything like this. So this could be interesting. I'm not going to use the base fork truck because it's only got 4 fork trucks in. So this one here has got 8. And what I'm hoping to do is put you in. It'd be nice if I could do that. I'm going to put you in about there. And then I'm going to put a second fork truck about there. So that will give us 16 forklift trucks to operate this area. And then what I'm going to do is we've got to connector there. And what I'm hoping is connector there. As you might guess, I've kind of worked this out on paper. So the idea is we're going to have all these connected with forklift trucks, which will then go up to here into here, and with 8 forklift trucks, maybe I think 8 should be enough, shouldn't it? I mean, we could put another one in just in here should we need it. Let me just check. Yeah, I mean, if we needed some extra forklift trucks, we can always put that in, build a building in there and connect. But I'm hoping that 8 forklift trucks will be able to keep it, because the key factor is going to be is actually keeping these farms empty. So what we're going to need is effectively the ability of the forklift trucks to move, what's it, 40, 60, 240 tons of crops per day. Although that would be at maximum capacity. So that's something that we need to think about. So we've now got that in there. Well, of course, what we're going to need to do now is put a road system in. Now I've got a bus stop up here. So I think we need to connect this to here. And what that should do is service these 2 areas here. And then I've put some footpaths in here. And then what I'm hoping is that we can get the workers in from here. So we're you to there, to there, to there. Now we got connect you up with the road there. And I don't really want to break that. So I think what we'll do is we'll come off here. Come there. And And if I put in a small bus stop out there, and then bring this road down into there like that, what that should do is give us the road connections. We can bring the workforce up to here, and the capacity of this bus stop is 200, and this is 20, 40, 60. So that we get 60 workers in here, so that should be more than enough here. Fork truck factories don't do anything. I'm still thinking, I think I will put another, so that I remember. I mean, I don't use it, I don't use it. That's all there is to it. Now, in case you're wondering about this, I have tested these. So a fork truck from this place can pass through this. They've got a through road on it. So it means that the fork trucks from here can pick up from, say, these two fields and deliver to the factory without actually bypassing through this one here. I'm actually running out of time, and what I need to do now is put some water supply in. Now, to just do a quick calculation, each one of these fields, these need 40 cubic meters of water. So that, if you work that out, that's 40, 80, 120, 160. Now, I think a food factory needs, let's say 10. So what we're talking about is 180 cubic meters of water to drive this whole area. This is the reason why I didn't want it connected to this area here. This needs its own independent water supply. Also, the actual irrigated farms only need 60% water purification, but the food factories need normal 96, 97%. Now, when I use these irrigated fields in my 7 Crosses series, I had a problem with the drinking water. So what I'm going to do is supply these with pure water, and the water system we're going to need to design is going to need to supply both the water to the fabric factory, which is another 11 cubic meters per day, plus any extra irrigated farms up here. So what we're looking for is quite a major water supply system here, but as I say, I'm not going to do that in this part. Why are you waiting too long? Oh, it's because these guys are there's a crossover up here. Okay, we just you're just gonna have to wait. I can move you up the tracks a little bit. If I whoops, just deleted the track. Okay. Oh, that's a bit of a fail, isn't it? Okay, we're gonna have to redo this bit of track here. Oh yeah, that's total idiot stupidity there. Not that it's a major disaster. So what we have to do is hook up our, yeah, I mean, a mistake like that can be very costly when you're playing realistic mode, especially if it's in an established track. Luckily, I've done it in an area which is still being built, so we can patch that relatively easily just by telling it to put in the gap up here. Last chance to buy. I think the other thing I was going to do, so we can do that. We were going to look at the combine harvesters, weren't we? Sorry, I just remembered. I'm sure I saw a combine harvester come up. If we go up to here, because I think pretty sure it's a western one. Let me just have a look at that. Harvesters. Yeah, we got this. This is the one, is it? The Dom 85. Now that's got a speed level of 35 against the speed level of 32 with the Matador. Now we can't upgrade the farm in the north because we got no connection, but we could possibly sort this one out. Yeah, I think what I might do, we've got a few little bits of crops left. See, then again, do we actually need it? These are actually done. Okay, haha. Let's start here. 5, get this in here because we want to get into the actual getting these roads asphalted with the winter coming on. So that's something I do need to work on. We got a little bit more up here. Maybe we can upgrade these because we don't know how fast these things go. I think these are about 18 or 20. So that's there, and I think just to finish off, guys, we'll just check our coal production. Yeah, we're building back up again now. We're getting still not as useful as it should be. And of course, this is out here. And of course, if I switch this back on again, that's gonna suck away all the coal from here. Oh, this has been built. Wow. Okay. And it's fully occupied. We should be getting more workers into here. And it's almost like we need a second bus station here. I think what I might do is we're going to put a second bus station in here. Oh, I don't want anything that big. We'll put another small bus station here. Can't build a factory. Yeah, I think what we're going to do is we're going to have a second bus platform here. We'll connect you up to there. And then what we'll do is we'll put this building on and maybe another building onto this platform. And then the routes which supply the coal mine will be picking up from here. And then, so what that will mean is that rather than the buses queuing up for this platform and not really going, although they are picking up more. So, where are you going? You are going to the coal mine. Yeah, maybe if we split the load between the two bus stops, that will make things go a little bit quicker. So that is the current situation. So anyway, this is where I'm going to leave it. Hope you enjoyed the episode. Hope you found it interesting. As usual, what I'll do is I'll play through to the middle of February, and that's where we're going to pick up, and where I'll be looking at carrying on the design up there and getting a few other things going. But until next time, whatever you do, enjoy your gaming.